Now that's factually funny. Welcome back, everyone. It is the year 2025. It is a fresh new episode of Factually Funny with Brandon and we'll call him a feature co-host for now. Michael is on here with me as Nate is on a sabbatical of sorts. He will be back. We're having scheduling issues. So I have Mike filling in for him. Mike is a much more handsome, funnier version of Nate. So if you guys like Nate, you're going to love Mike, even though you can't see us. Just imagine a nice, handsome fella full of tattoos. And you're pretty much spot on for what he looks like. So, Mike, welcome.
Thank you. I eagerly await Nate's recovery from his surgery. I think it's going to look a lot bigger, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. If he makes it out of surgery, because it's risky these days. So why don't you go ahead and just spill the beans on what we're going to be talking about today to us?
I have a loose idea. I've listened to a little bit of the podcast. You told me we are going to be talking about currency, of which I know so much.
Yes.
So much.
Me as well. I know that I want more of it, and I don't have enough of it.
Constantly running out.
So
perpetually running out.
It's ever fleeting, right? It's just like time. You can never win. Money always wins. So with that being said, let's take a look at some of the first use cases of money. Now, so let me ask you this. What was your, I don't know how to describe it, the first time everyone ever talked to you about money? Where was your first concept of money? What did you think? Because I have an idea of, what I was told was the first, what they used first for money. So, what were you told when you were younger, the first currency was? Or do you remember that?
Are you talking about when I was a child and someone described the concept of money, or what do I recall as being the first ever currency?
I was talking first ever currency, but the other one is interesting too. So start with that first, what you thought the first currency was, and then go from there.
First currency, let's see. First civilizations were the Babylonians. It was Sumerians. Was it Sumeria, then Babylon?
I have no idea. That's why this podcast is so interesting, because we learn as we go. So I can't.
I would imagine that they were using some kind of, before, I guess, bartering wouldn't count, so that'd be pre-currency.
Bartering actually does count.
Bartering does count. Well, what was the first currency of bartering? Most likely meat. Maybe for cavemen, very nicely shaped rocks.
Yeah, so just to stop you real quick, I attempted to do a mini episode where I just covered a smaller object in a shorter time frame, and it was on banks. What bartering was the first. And in that instance, when I was reading about the first banks, what they stored was grain. And so it was grain, I believe, was the very first. So, you weren't far off, but yeah, actually shortly after bartering was physical objects, so that probably leads to your stones and stuff like that. But before we get too far into that, I'll share, I don't know if it's what I thought was the first thing that, was ever currency, but in my head, one of the earliest things I could think of was chocolate. And that was used by the Mayans.
Parents.
Yeah, no kidding. Those gold coins you got at Christmas time or whatever it was.
Those terrible gold coins.
Yeah, dude, but we loved them, though. We loved them. They weren't good, but it was fun.
I love chocolate that tastes like chalk.
Yeah. Well, and then they had, do you remember, the book fairs and stuff when we had, those erasers that were, $100 bills?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. That was the cool stuff, though. If you were cool, you came back from, the Scholastic Book Fair with one of those.
Scholastic Book Fair. Oh. Memory, unlocked. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, I get to relive it with the kids, so. I realize now, though, we're going to sidetrack a little here, but as a parent, having kids, these schools have so many goddamn fundraisers. It's unbelievable. My kids, it seems come home with a new fundraiser at least once a month. and like they always have something going on that costs money.
Oh, don't even get me started on the education system or the healthcare system. We're gonna be here all night. We don't need to. We don't need to do that. We don't need to put that evil on anybody.
All right, that's fair. So let me bounce back to the evolution of money. This is just a short, brief timeline. In 6000 BC, it lists bartering, and we'll get into more in depth, but this is just the base timeline. 6000 BC was bartering. 1000 BC was physical objects. 806 AD was paper money. 1816 was gold. That's interesting to me. I wouldn't think that gold would come after paper money.
Yeah. Well, I guess they had the gold standard.
Yeah. And then this is also interesting. I thought this was a newer use case, but credit cards, it says 1950.
Yeah, that was when the first ones came out.
That's crazy to me. When I think of credit cards, I think like 1980s, maybe 70s, but 1950, that's crazy. So we're rolling up on 75 years now of credit cards being around.
Just got my first.
Really?
Just got my first. Yeah, 31 years old and getting my first credit card.
Man, you did so good. I'm just now, this week I'll be paying off my last credit card.
And my only debt, well, prior to this, I would only take out like personal loans and to like build my credit.
Yeah.
I didn't like the idea of having something where I had access to money that wasn't mine and that I would be constantly owing somebody.
Exactly.
So,
and it's such a slippery slope, and it's so predatory in the fact that like your
the rates are insane.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyone listening who doesn't have a credit card, I would not get one if you don't need to. If you do get one that is a good interest rate, and get one that does not have a high maximum credit level, because speaking from personal experience, I have gotten into credit card debt multiple times now and have paid it off and found myself right back to where I was. So for me personally, the only solution is to pay off and eliminate the cards, not the accounts. Leave the accounts open as long as they'll hold them open, but eliminate the physical card and keep it out of your Apple Wallet so you don't spend on it. Keep one. I'm going to keep my Menards card for house projects or if like the water heater goes out. Just practice good money sense there. Moving forward, so we left off at credit cards in 1950. In 1994, electronic money, it says. So I don't know if that means like transfers, like wire transfers, or like.
Oh, that's like the. Are they referring to like just electronic banking? Like
maybe that's what
when money was tracked or money became tracked through an actual digital network.
Yeah, that's what the logo is of a cell phone, so I'm assuming that's what it means, which is weird because I don't think there were cell phones that looked like that in 1994.
Oh wait, when did you say the electronics started?
94.
94?
Yeah.
Okay. Backpack cell phones were in the 80s, but like I remember when they had. You ever see old cars with telephones in the console?
Yeah. Yep.
I think there were those, and then the actual handhelds that were gigantic came after the backpacks. I think that was towards the end of the 80s. I'm just making all this up as I go. Just a complete false history.
Well, yeah, that's part of it, man. People got to pick out what's real and what's fake. So.
And then, I guess computers were around in the 80s, like IBM and like Apple were first starting probably late 70s.
I would venture to guess that 94 means like online transactions of things.
Yeah, like a mass account. I'm sure they were using computers in banks though in the 80s.
Yeah, maybe this is for like, I bet that was for like business to business. Maybe this is like consumer.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyways, last tile on here is cryptocurrency in 2009. So I got a funny story about this, and it kind of sucks.
Oh, God.
So, well, it's not really funny. It's really kind of just sad. But so cryptocurrency came out in 2009, right? And when me and Nate went away to Central Michigan for college that first semester, we had bought Ripple at the time. When Ripple was like the price of what like Shiba Inu is right now, like 10,000ths of a penny. And I can't remember how much we bought of it, but I could only imagine how much it would be worth today.
Ripple? I don't even know what that is.
XRP.
Got me.
Oh, yeah, I guess if you didn't know. So Ripple right now is trading at, I believe, just said $2.95 a share or a coin. Yeah, Ripple's currently at $2.88. So it would have gone from however much we bought 2011 to 21, like 14 years ago, 15 years ago. Damn, that's so long. So it would have gone to where from where Shiba, it was probably less than Shiba, honestly, because it was like a ridiculous amount. So we would be like rich right now, and we both sold it. So
yeah, I regret selling off all my stocks when I got out of the Navy. Like just restarting like your life costs, like getting furniture, paying for school, car, gas, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I had a good amount of shares in. I mean, investing advice that comes from a poor person is probably not generally heeded, but purchase stocks. Those military-industrial complex stocks, those aren't going anywhere.
No,
those only go up. It's a long con or a long bet, but I had like stocks in General Dynamics, which makes our tanks, Lockheed Martin, which most of our aircraft all comes from them. Then Northrop Grumman was a great one.
I mean,
there are shipbuilders.
Really, the only one I think that is slightly government related that's taken a major hit lately is Boeing with their safety issues.
Oh yeah. Lockheed Martin's like pretty much mostly combat. I mean, they're very tightly
more private
into the government,
private aircraft. Yeah. So I mean, those are always good investments, and like even like if you find the right IT companies, they're good long-term investments. They're companies. Raytheon, Nvidia, Cisco, like these in Palo Alto, these companies aren't going anywhere. So if you're looking for long-term, but also there's ETFs and stuff, which are a more balanced disbursement of your investment. But anyways, steering us back on track here.
Sorry.
So I'm going to bounce into, we're going to take a little break from history and hit some fun facts here. So the first one I'm only going to read some interesting ones because there's like 21. So we'll just go through the interesting ones. The first one is actually pretty interesting. Each dollar amount has its own lifespan. So according to the currency education program, a $10 bill has the shortest lifespan, while a $100 bill has the longest. I mean, that makes sense. Who's just carrying around $100 bills? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you're saying it like the physical item lifespan, like before it deteriorates?
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and think about the kind of money you're carrying. Unless you're like a stripper, right? You're carrying a bunch of ones. But like...
I mean, don't judge me.
Hey, yeah. I mean, now you got OnlyFans, so all your money's digital now. You don't even have cash.
I mean, I had to put myself through nursing school.
Exactly. So the shortest, like it says, the $10 bill has an average lifespan of 5 years. $100 bill is 22. $50 bill is 12. $20 bill is 7. A dollar bill is 6.6. So.
Wait, say that again? 6.6?
6.6. All of them have decimals, but I didn't read them. I don't know why I read it.
No, I mean, like, the bill only will physically last for 6 years with all the wear and tear it goes through.
Yes.
Can't you send the government deteriorated bills and they'll, like, replace them?
I think you can. I think banks handle that mostly, though. I think it's like when the bank gets money and they go, okay, this is too deteriorated. They send it to the Federal Reserve or something. I don't really know. Fun fact number 2, this one we don't have to discuss, but it says a banknote can be folded 4,000 times. I don't know who would spend their fucking time doing that. It's a giant waste of your life to try and do that. I feel bad for the person that, like, figured that out.
It's a government research project.
You're right. We've probably spent millions of dollars in fucking studying this shit with government dollars.
Absolutely. 100% we did.
There's a reason dollars are green. for the U.S.
Yeah, why is that?
Colonial money was black and tan. Or, I'm sorry, was tan with black or red ink. And it wasn't until the Civil War that the government started using green ink to print paper money, where it got the name greenbacks. The color was selected because the ink didn't fade or easily decompose, which protected against counterfeiting. Makes sense. I mean, now we have so much stuff that...
To counterfeit with.
Yeah, well, that, but also, like, the money itself has gotten more, well, I guess it's easier when it's all digital, too, so...
They've got those strips on them now, the RFID strips.
Yeah.
Or not RFID, but...
the, like, wax or, like, plastic strip on them. Well,
yeah.
Isn't that how, like, European money is, too? Isn't European money, like, all...
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. I have some Norwegian... Is it Norwegian or... I think the Norwegian money I have has strips in it. But the bills that I have from Iceland were all paper.
I was gonna say I've never been across the pond. I've been west of Hawaii, and I've foreign currency is I've only ever had like Mexico or Canadian, like pesos and Canadian.
I have a few British pounds, and those they feel like half fabric, half plastic.
Okay.
And then the euros are kind of similar. Well, I think I remember them having a lot of like plastic stuff on them.
And it's so interesting to me how diverse like currency is across the world. Like pesos are mostly coins, I believe. Like the higher amounts you get bills for, but like a lot of places still use a lot of change. Whereas like here we're like trying desperately to get away from it.
It was weird in like Europe. We used coins so much more than you do here, just because there are actual multiple dollar coins. I mean, you'll have like I think there was like a €2 coin, a €1 coin. I saw a guy the other night spazzing out that this vending machine wouldn't take his dollar coins like in the US. And honestly, I was just kind of shocked that he had dollar coins.
I have some, but you know what's like? Could you imagine?
You can't use them anywhere, really. I mean,
no, you can't unless you're collecting them or just taking them to the bank to deposit them. But like, imagine having to carry around a fucking pocket full of change everywhere you went.
Oh, I did that.
Yeah,
while I was in Italy.
Was it a pain in the ass?
Yes.
Hard to run from the police when you break the law, isn't it? Because you weigh like 20 more pounds.
You sit down and, $8 comes out of your pocket. Like, it's kind of a bitch when you're losing money like that.
Yeah, I mean, I lose my money enough in taxes here. I don't need a pocket full of change rolling around.
Yeah.
Alrighty. A coin can last from 20 to 30 years, which is when they become too worn to use. At that time, the Federal Reserve takes them out of circulation and melts them down to use for other purposes.
I love that. They probably just resell them on the collector's market.
Probably. Highest bill denomination in the U.S. in history was the $100,000 bill.
What?
Yep. Printed in 1934, featured Woodrow Wilson. This $100,000 bill was a gold certificate currency that was never intended for public use.
Then why?
It was meant.
Why?
It was only meant for official transactions between Federal Reserve banks. Dude, I think it'd be awesome to see one of those today, like just out in the open, floating around.
That dude would get robbed so fast.
Oh, for sure. Like, well, imagine how much it's probably worth. If it never saw like consumer circulation, it was just meant for like between Federal Reserve banks. How hard it would be to get a hold of one.
Oh yeah.
A penny costs more to make than it's worth. There's no surprise there.
Why?
So, why do we have them? Get rid of them.
Why?
Money is dirtier than you think. I doubt it. I know money's disgusting. Like,
oh yeah, money's. Oh, it wasn't. So, this is kind of adjacent things that you don't think about being as dirty as they are, but whenever you receive mail, like we used to do mail handling quite a bit when I was in the Navy, and like. You're handling all of these boxes coming in and even individual pieces of paper mail. are disgusting.
Oh,
The bags that they are carried in are never washed.
I mean, why?
Whatever is spilled on them stays there forever until the bag is thrown away. So when you're handling large quantities of mail, just you would either wear gloves, or if before you did anything else, just go wash your hands or take a shower. It was just gross, the amount of grime that is sitting on all of these boxes that we bring into our houses all the time.
Yeah, I bet. America isn't the only country that uses the U.S. dollar. I think I kind of knew that. Virgin Islands is one of the, but like that's a territory, isn't it? Or like a whatever.
Oh, there's the U.S. U.S. Virgin Islands. I think there are some of them that are U.S. territories.
Boy. Timor-Leste, Bonaire, Ecuador, El Salvador, Federated States of Micronesia, Marshall Islands, Palau, I'm not the person that should be reading this. Saba, and Turks and Caicos. I don't know where any of those are. I'm assuming they're like close to the U.S. I mean, Ecuador and El Salvador, I kind of understand. Like, there's some places that just like having U.S. currency because it's usually worth more than their own.
Yeah. I mean, El Salvador, Ecuador, that's... Wait.
South America, isn't it?
No, I mean, it's Southern North America.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. We're Americans. We don't have to know geography.
Well, I'm thinking of South America. There's Brazil,
Argentina.
Colombia, Argentina, Chile.
Yeah, I think it is in southern north. I don't know. Let's just not do it.
Is Ecuador in South America? I know El Salvador isn't, but maybe Ecuador is.
All right, I got the map pulled up just to satisfy our curiosity here.
I'm a stickler for geography. I hate feeling like an idiot when it comes to geography.
Ecuador is in South America.
Okay.
What was the other one I said?
El Salvador?
What's it, El Salvador?
El Salvador is not in South America.
Correct. Okay, so I was half right and you were half right, so we're good.
Okay. Yeah. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Moving on to the next fun fact.
Where's Palau? Tell me where Palau is.
I don't know where the fuck's
I think that's
Palau?
Pacific.
It's probably by Hawaii or something.
I was thinking like Philippines.
Oh, apparently Palau's in Toledo, Ohio or something. Where the... Oh, this is Iowa. That's not right. Hold on. Did I spell it right?
Pilau?
Palau. I spelled it wrong. That would probably... Republic of Palau. It's by Australia.
Okay.
That's kind of far.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, it's right by the Philippines, though, so that's really not that surprising.
Hey. I said probably near Philippines.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, I'm not searching the rest of them up. You can make money... Dude, this would be on a whole different subject. You can make money crisp by ironing it. I didn't know that. I kind of want to test that out, so I got a rogue dollar bill. I'm going to test that out later. I'm not going to report it on the podcast, but maybe I'll put it in the show notes if it worked.
Or just the next episode, just a follow-up, you know?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how I feel. The oldest currency still in use. I'll give you 3 guesses.
Oldest?
So think of the actual currency itself. How old that currency is. What currency is it? If that makes sense.
For like the U.S.?
No, just in the world.
Just in general, in the world? Oh,
basically the oldest currency that's still in use today. I guess that's the better way they could have worded that.
I'm going to guess it's somewhere in either Africa or the Middle East.
No and no, and you got one more guess.
Would it be somewhere in Asia?
It would not. The oldest currency still in use today is the British pound.
Really?
Yes, the British pound dates back to 775 AD and was called the pound sterling when Anglo-Saxon kings used silver pennies or sterlings as money. Today, the foreign currency is the 4th most traded in the foreign exchange market after the greatest, the US dollar, the euro, and the Japanese yen.
The pound is still worth more.
Yeah, that's true. Barely. We're getting closer.
Their inflation's catching up to ours?
Yeah, well, our inflation's down. I just saw something today that said the inflation has gone down. So we'll see.
But is that in comparison to like a year ago
Probably.
versus
Well,
10 years ago?
I think
There's no way.
typically when those come out, it's quarter to quarter. So it's probably just down from last quarter.
Yeah.
Oh,
Overall, we're still way in the red.
so I got another fun quiz question for you.
Okay.
Guess how many $2 bills are still in circulation?
I imagine it's a preposterous amount.
I believe they stopped printing them a while ago. It doesn't say the date on here. Okay, so yeah, your answer is correct. There's still 1.2 billion $2 bills in circulation.
Because you see them every now and again. Like, they're not... I mean, they're uncommon, for sure.
Yeah, they are. I have a few. My grandma used to give me them like every holiday or something. I don't know. I used to get them in cards from her all the time. So I had a bunch. I have no idea where they are now, but I still have some. The bills are still in circulation. Oh, so I guess they are still making them if they're still in circulation, if that's what that means. And are
I mean, you can still use
circulate
them
without printing.
Right. I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe we'll find out. Are considered to be the rarest currency denomination in the U.S. Some people believe $2 bills were bad luck and would rip off the corner of the bill to reverse the curse, making them unusable. That's not true, though, because I believe as long as you have more than 50% of the note, you can still use it. I thought. I don't think ripping the corners off makes them unusable.
I spent so many ripped dollars. I don't know.
I don't believe that's true. Maybe like in a vending machine. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Here it's onto the credit card. There's a fact. The first universal credit card was in 1950.
Imagine how easy it was to steal using that.
Okay, hold on. So the first credit cards originated in the U.S. in the 1920s, but were issued by individual firms such as oil companies and hotel chains. That I remember that because I remember when I was doing the bank episode, it was talking about how people like who worked for the oil company, like they got paid by that, and they could only spend their money on stuff that the oil company owned, like the kind of like the military, like when you have your on base like grocery store or whatever.
Oh, you?
Yeah. So. It wasn't until 1950 when Diners Club founders Ralph Schneider and Frank McNamara issued a card that could be used at a variety of establishments. The Diners Club card sparked the modern credit card era. Others soon followed, such as American Express, which debuted their card of this type in 1958, which is really funny because of all the credit cards that still exist today, American Express is like the least accepted one out of all of them, even though it's the oldest.
That's still like... is crazy to me.
It blows my mind. I remember because
in a digital age, like how is something not accepted?
Yeah, and like, so when Costco first started their credit card, because that's one of my oldest credit cards I have is the Costco one. They had American Express, and I could like only use it at Costco. Like nowhere else accepted American Express. Like I don't remember where I was, but I tried to use it. I'm like, why is this declining? Like there's plenty of credit, like whatever. And they're like, oh, we don't take American Express, and I'm like, oh. Like, that's a thing. And then I, like, started realizing more and more as I went places. Like, it'd be like, oh, Discover, Visa, MasterCard. Like, no American Express.
Yeah, I'm a Navy Federal flagship member now. So, I believe they use Visa cards.
Yeah,
but, pretty bougie.
I don't know.
Bougie.
Well, American Express has that black card, right, that everybody wants, that Amex Black. So maybe you just have to be super rich. Maybe we're just too poor and we can't afford the nice places that take American Express.
What was it? Is it American Express that has the platinum card?
They got black, platinum, like diamond, or I don't know. I'm not rich enough to know how high the cards go.
The platinums, I wish I would have done it while I was in, but if you're I think for a while you're active duty military, you could get a platinum, American Express platinum, basically like for free. And you could like use it, and it gave you access to all of the VIP lounges in the airports over in Europe, like wherever you were traveling.
Yeah.
So a lot of people had those. And it was just a baller-ass card because it was actual metal. I mean, it's not obviously it's not platinum, but it was an actual metal card felt really nice. It was very aesthetically and tactilely or pleasing.
Right, yeah, and I mean, you can get them made now, so I guess it's not as cool as it once was, because, like, you can just send your card info to some dude, and he'll just put your mag stripe and your RFID chip into a metal plate and print something on it if you want, but...
Honestly,
I mean,
I'd love that.
yeah,
That'd be cool.
I've seen videos on, like, TikTok and stuff. I think it's, like, only, like, 40 or 50 bucks, and they make it for you. But rolling on with cards, sort of, there's an ATM on every continent on Earth. I think like every country would be more cool, but every continent.
I'm sure there is some one country that does not have an ATM.
Okay, so in the most remote places, including Easter Island and McMurdo Station in Antarctica. So so you know how gas pumps are in the dead of winter here. Imagine, when I picture
their fuel systems are different.
When I picture an ATM in Antarctica, I just picture it like sitting outside by itself in a parking lot, just when like it's negative 50 degrees or whatever.
It's just next to a Connex box in the middle of a ice field.
Just like the screen is completely iced over. There's probably fucking like penguins or some shit like guarding it. Oh. Alrighty. Secret Service originally fought counterfeiting. That's very interesting.
I do remember that. I remember that being a thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Secret Service did very odd, random stuff for their. I mean, outside of being the security for the president.
Yeah, I mean, just what do they like the catch-all for everything else? Like,
yeah, they did like counterfeiting. They did some other stuff.
Just imagine going to Thanksgiving dinner with your family and be like, guys, I got a job at the Secret Service. They're like, no way. What are you're going to be protecting the president? You're like, no, I catch counterfeiters.
I find fake money.
Like, actually, my job is way less cooler than protecting the president. I look at fake money.
It's like I work for the Secret Service as an accountant.
That's like being like, yeah, I was a Marine, but like or not even Marine. I was like a Navy SEAL, but like I was the Navy SEAL that I don't want to disrespect anyone. So respect to anyone who was in the service, and I don't know how military jobs work either. So I was not in the military. Mike was. He can correct me after I say this, but like that's like the janitor of the Navy SEALs. Like, you know, he doesn't ever get to go on missions or whatever. I mean, there's always critical aspects to everything, but you know, like. You're, just like a football team, your quarterback is more important than, you know, your punter.
Yeah, that's a tricky water to wade through.
At least I realized before I said anything inherently stupid. So,
yeah, that'd be. I feel like it would just be undercutting if you had gone through everything a SEAL goes through to be trained. You know, the undersea or underwater demolition. The really grueling schools and trainings they have to go through, and then you work in an office.
Yeah.
I feel that would just be kind of crushing.
It would. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just to push papers all day. Like you're the HR Navy SEAL guy.
You are this master-crafted tool of war that gets plopped into a cubicle. That'd just be terrible. I feel for that person.
Right, yeah. And that's not an insult. It's like, it's not your fault you ended up there.
Yeah, you know, it's like training that only, 0.1% of the U.S. populace could complete. And then they're just like, and
here's your
the
notepad.
printer's busted. Why don't you go?
Yeah.
We need you to get on that.
Your Navy SEAL IT guy who's just absolutely shredded, but just like fixes printers all day.
Could kill me with just a snap of his fingers and
I mean, that's
a sharp look.
How much workplace violence do you see in Milton? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not walking in there and committing violence.
Yeah.
Okay, most Americans hoard their spare change. That's no surprise to me. I do. I have a jar full of it. I think every normal American does.
Oh, a change jar? Oh,
yeah, for sure. 55.5% of people do nothing with their loose change they've accumulated. 60.3% of the male respondents said they're more likely to leave their extra coins untouched compared to 51% of the female respondents. Like, untouched how? Like looking at them? Like rub? Like, I don't know what that means.
They're just like they take them home and nothing ever happens with it again.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's what dudes do. We bring something home, look at it, and then never touch it again. Another survey from Coinstar found that people estimated they had about $28 in change at home, but typically took $56 in change to Coinstar machines. I stopped taking. I don't want to say I stopped taking. I haven't been to a Coinstar machine in a long time, but it really pissed me off when they started charging like 11 cents on the dollar to count your money. When you can literally just buy the sleeves, do it yourself, take it to the bank, and not lose any money. You just have to sacrifice your time.
I gotta say, I do enjoy a good Coinstar.
Oh, it's a fun experience. I mean, the rattling,
yeah,
the clink, 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 clink.
It's like a guaranteed better return slot machine.
Well, I was literally just about to say that. It's like the exact opposite of going to the casino. Like, you get to watch your money go up instead of down.
Yeah, you know that there's a cost for it, but seeing that dollar amount rise as you start getting into the section that's mostly quarters, Oh.
Yeah, I wish I could
do that
win
again soon. I want to experience that again.
Speaking of currency, yeah, the casino's a good place to lose it.
I can't do casinos.
Yeah, it's just old people.
A lot of people love them. I can't.
Retired people love to gamble away their children's inheritance there.
It's not their children's money anyway,
That's
give
true.
It to the casino.
Yeah,
give way better spent.
Right, they're gonna do so much more better things than if you just left that money to your kids who can't pay their bills.
They don't need a trust fund.
Yeah. Well, what they're doing there is they're like, hey, I haven't fucked over the next 3 generations enough, so let me just go and throw this money away to some rich private company. So they can have my money instead of my kids who can't even buy a house because I ruined the economy over the last 40 years.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of digging at the boomers. It's not your fault. You didn't know what you were doing, and now we're completely buried under the weight of your poor decisions. Only 8% of the world's currency is physical money. That's kind of a shocking amount.
Wait, how much?
8%. Is literal cash, with the rest existing on computer hard drives and electronic bank accounts. Think of like a massive EMP attack.
Oh, yeah.
That's 92. Like, if it eliminated the world's currency that was non-physical, you're talking 92% gone.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, like, things would replace it immediately. Like, the value of firearms, bullets, and then
you almost
Mad Max road gear.
You would almost go back to the bartering system, like bartering for your life with your firearms.
Yeah, the currency would be replaced by I have a gun, you don't have a gun, I get your food.
Yeah, exactly. You give me your food, and I let you live by not shooting you.
And that way I can spend more time working on my, attaching feathers to my football pads.
This is an interesting one. Coins didn't always say, "In God we trust." The original American penny, reportedly designed by the GOAT, Benjamin Franklin, features a motto he popularized, "Mind your business." Dude, how badass would our currency be today if the fucking thing said, "Mind your business" on it?
That's such like a capitalist greed flex.
This has got to be one of the biggest blunders in American history, to go from "mind your business" to "in God we trust." Like,
oh yeah.
Imagine like taking that to the like foreign currency exchange, like if you're like fucking in Mexico or something and you're like swapping out money and it's like, here, mind your fucking business. Don't worry about what I'm spending this shit on.
I mean, most people already hate Americans anyway, so if we had money that just said, fuck you on it,
might as well just have a middle finger.
For the course.
Your dollar bill is just a middle finger fucking sticking out.
It would just, it probably wouldn't do. I think it's sad it might not do that much against our image already.
No.
If we changed back.
It wouldn't. Airports make big money from loose change. That's not really surprising to me either.
Not at all.
The TSA collects about $1 million in unclaimed money, mostly coins, from passengers who empty their pockets while going through the security line. These funds get deposited into a special fund so that collection and spending can be easily tracked. I wonder if... See, I feel like they should just donate that back to the TSA agents. I don't know. What would you do?
That would be too kind.
That's true. Yeah, it's got to go to fucking waste on something.
Why would you do that when you can keep your workforce poor?
Right. See, that's why I'd be a bad business owner, because I would actually care about my employees and making sure that they can afford to live. So,
you don't want to do that though, because then people be happy and
yeah, dude, they want to come to work
for you.
Yeah, exactly. Why the fuck would you want your employees to want to come to work?
They would have established trust in their, employer, and you don't need that when you need to fire them. To maintain your bonuses.
Well, yeah, instead of paying someone more who's been here for 10 years, I can just fire them, find someone new, and pay them even more. Because that's the way things work here. If you want more money, they're going to tell you no, and you're going to leave and go find more money elsewhere. And then who they hire to replace you is going to make more than what you wanted anyways.
That's kind of funny, because that's exactly how the nursing profession works. You start somewhere, right? You're right out of school, you're a brand new nurse. A lot of places do residency programs where they kind of teach you how to do the job, which is highly necessary because school does not prepare you nearly enough for what you're going to be doing for people.
Quick sidebar for you. Nursing is a trade. It's not a school-taught skill. It should be treated as such, as like a carpenter or an electrician, or like it is 100% a trade job. Like, and not that trades are bad, but like that's how it needs to be taught. It has to be taught on the job. Like, there's some obviously book formal training, but like you don't learn anything. And every single nurse I've ever talked to says they fucking, as soon as they get out in the real world, like everything you learn basically just gets thrown in the fucking trash.
I don't know. I feel like that's a bit hyperbolic, because a lot of people, when you need the framework of understanding, I know people scoff at chemistry and like OChem or organic chem. You're never going to be doing any of that when you're on the job. That's never going to happen. But
right. So my question is, why are we wasting people's time and having to learn? Like college, for example, you had, like, if you're doing a bachelor's degree, you always have your undergrad course of study, like where you have to take a history of jazz, for example. In my bachelor's program, I took as one of my electives. Like, why the hell do I need?
I failed that class. No, I the final exam, like, I had, it was, there's no like camera on the test or anything, and like if you took notes and everything, you could pretty much pass the test using your notes from the class. And that's what I did, and I scored too well on the end, because on my papers previously, I basically said, like, nah, dog, the stuff that you're having us listen to is not my vibe. Like, I understand the complexity of it and the difficulty it is to play on this level. Like, I have respect for, your ability to do this, but it is not for me. This sounds awful. Like, I'm not talking about smooth jazz or, jazz club jazz. I'm talking, he had us listen to the experimental stuff that was just nuts. It was just cat screeching and just hammering noises with no consideration for a beat or tempo. And I was just like, this ain't it, dog. Like, this is not good. So when I went to the final test and used my notes, I scored too well, and he told me that I cheated and looked all the answers up online and gave me a 0 on the final.
Oh, man, that sucks.
I already had to repeat a semester for chemistry, so I was just like, it doesn't even matter anymore. I don't care.
That's wild.
Sorry.
No, you're good. 43% of people worldwide today use some form of digital wallet, which, I mean, if you have an iPhone or like an Android, you have a digital wallet like built in there. So that's no surprise there, and that's how we're gonna head going forward. I still love, occasionally having cash on hand. Like there's just something about holding money, like physically holding money that just like feels good. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
because
saying?
we're like monkeys, and we like shiny objects, and we like holding things. We like things that clickety clack, and things that we understand have value.
Yeah, and
You have like a physical weight in your
yeah,
hand that
it
represents buying power.
yeah, I could because I'm trying to think of like the most money I ever held. I think it was after I sold. Was it when I sold or bought? I don't know. It's some sort of large like either a house or a car or something. I think it was when I bought one of my cars. I put like 5 or 6 grand down.
As same thing. I bought a used car for it was a long time ago, but bought a used car for 3,500, and I had it physically in cash, and it was honestly the most nerve-wracked I've been carrying around money.
Well,
I was so nervous that like something was going to happen. I was going to lose it.
and
From
now
the
that
time that I handed it over to someone else.
now that you say that, I I want to think about the psychology of it a little bit. Of like, do you think people would be better like balancing their budgets if money was still physical and transactions were still physical as opposed to this digital age of credit cards and all that? Like you would physically know, like, hey, I have this pile of money and 3/4 of this pile of money is going to bills. You know what I'm saying?
I want to say yes, but I also don't have that much faith in humanity. So
That's true. I mean, at this point, I think there's like a generation that's in trouble, and I hope that the generation after that is better. We're gonna see as time goes on, but I'm not gonna throw any sort of people under the bus.
what was it? The Billy Joel song, "We Didn't Start the Fire."
Yep.
It's always going to be on fire.
Well, except for his generation was the one that did start the fire, but it's fine.
Oh, it was on fire before the 80s, man. It was
Oh,
on fire
yeah.
before the 60s.
It's always.
It was-
I think it was on fire the moment we dropped those bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
you say Hiroshima?
Hiroshima.
Hiroshima?
No, it's not pronounced Hiroshima. Hold on. I figured this out the other day. I was watching some like World War II something. Hiroshima.
Yeah.
It's Hiroshima.
That's what I just said.
No, you said Hiroshima.
I said Hiroshima.
No. I said Hiroshima.
All right, we're going to play this back. And when you go to edit this,
Oh, I'm not.
I'd better hear my original pronunciation in there instead of just completely cut out from the tape.
No, I'm not editing. Dude, there hasn't been enough pauses for me to have anything to edit, so it's just going to go live. Let me
we'll
think.
do it live.
So actually, that timeline covered most of the history in kind of a fun way. I'm looking at these other links I have open. We're at pretty good length. So just real quick, I'm going to go through the U.S. history timeline, and then we'll wrap things up. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about it, but in 1690, currency started as colonial notes. And then moving into 1739, Franklin's unique colonial notes was his take on counterfeiting. They had unique raised patterns cast from actual leaves. Process added an innovative and effective counterfeit deterrent on the colonial notes that were very easily counterfeited. 1775, independence and strength. And that was when Continental Congress authorized issuance of paper money, continental currency, or continentals to support the American Revolutionary War. It kind of sounds more like bonds almost. The continental currency lost its value very quickly because it had a lack of solid backing and the rise of counterfeiting. That's funny too. Like without an established currency, like think about back then. Like it's kind of like how crypto works today. Like if you don't have the backing on your coin, it's not going to take off.
I mean, even the backing, all of them are packed by. I mean, cryptocurrency in itself is meaningless.
True.
It's just attached to a dollar value that people will buy it for.
Yeah.
So it is fiat currency. I don't want to say backed, but it's cryptocurrency's only value is in it, the fiat currency that you are purchasing it with or you are able to sell it for.
Boy, actually, this list goes way in depth. I know we don't have enough time to cover it all, so let me just see if there's anything interesting as we're going along. I mean, wow. This wouldn't have been fun. I'm glad we did it the other way, because this is literally like every fucking dollar bill that's ever existed in our timeline is on here.
Oh my God.
I want to see the more modern ones, if there's anything interesting. So bear with me just a second. There's special World War II currency in 1942. They printed silver certificates and Federal Reserve notes bearing a Hawaii overprint. These items only circulated in Hawaii, and their brown seals and serial numbers differentiate from other certificates. They are easily identifiable and can be declared valueless if Hawaii is overran by enemy forces. That is a crazy fact. So there are special World War II Hawaii overprinted current, so it's on the back side where the White House is, just over top of it says Hawaii, but can be declared valueless if Hawaii ever gets taken over. That's funny.
Why is that the stipulation? Like,
I don't know.
So many things become worthless if Hawaii gets taken over. Like, if you live on Hawaii, like,
yeah, good luck. And
it's like saying the U.S. dollar would mean nothing if the U.S. was overtaken by North Korea.
But what
obviously.
How hard would the U.S. really fight, though, in a war to keep Hawaii?
Oh, we would destroy anyone over Hawaii.
You know what? I think the Japanese learned that lesson already. I don't know.
It's like as soon as you touch our boats, we flip out.
That's true.
Like
We don't like our boats being touched.
Japan touched Hawaii and our boats. And the war was already over and we still hit them with the nuclear bombs.
Yeah, if you haven't heard the Temper story, look it up. It's a good one.
Temper story.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, now you're gonna have me pull it up. The USS Wisconsin. After World War II, Wisconsin was decommissioned and reactivated twice. Blah blah blah. Where's the fucking story?
Do you think the Wisconsin had, like, out of any other battleship, probably the most cheese stored on board it?
You know, I don't know. What were you on?
Wait, sorry,
what ship were you on?
I was on the USS George H.W., so that's Senior Bush. CVN 77.
Found it. Okay, so the Temper story is about the USS Wisconsin's response to a North Korean artillery strike.
Oh,
during the
I know.
Korean War.
Yep, I've heard this.
They turned the ship and just full sent, like, obliterated the artillery.
They shot like one shell near our boat.
Yeah, it didn't even. I don't even think it hit the boat.
Yeah, I don't think it even hit the boat. And then we just lined up all of our guns on that ship.
Oh no, hold on, it did get hit on March 15, 1952. Operating off the coast of Korea, USS Wisconsin received its first and only direct hit from a North Korean 155 gun battery. The shell struck the shield of a starboard side twin 40 millimeter gun mount, causing minor damage to the ship and injuring 3 soldiers. In response to the attack, the crew, fueled by anger and a desire for retribution, returned fire with all 9 of their Mark 7 16-inch guns. And then it was like the ship that was with them. Yeah. The firepower of these guns was enormous, each capable of firing a 2,700-pound armor-piercing shell over 20 miles. The salvo obliterated the North Korean gun battery that had hit them, well, obviously. Following the powerful response, a ship escorting the Wisconsin, the USS Duncan, humorously signaled to the Wisconsin the message Temper, acknowledging the Wisconsin's overwhelming response to the attack.
Yeah, where those shots landed, we basically changed the topography of that area using those guns. That they fired so much that it changed the actual level of land. Like, hills were no longer hills. We just cratered it.
Lastly,
goodness.
I'm just going to go over the redesigns. The $20 bill was the first redesign in 2020 to the current green and tan bill we know today. The 50 was redesigned in 04, which has it's Grant, right? Yeah, Grant's on the 50.
Ulysses.
With the U.S. flag on the back. And then in 2006, the $10 bill was redone, which is funny because, like, kids today don't know the bills before. I mean, they'll see them probably, but, like, these redesign.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, anyone who was born, like, circa, 2012? Like,
Yeah, that's scary.
And they're 2020. They're, like, teenagers now, and, like, they don't know before what the old 5 or what the old 100 looks like. In 2013, the 100 was redone.
Oh, yeah. It's, it's, humbling that they don't know. It's rough.
Yeah.
Or, referring to MySpace, and they have no idea.
Oh my god, dude! They should bring MySpace back with all the stuff that's going on, TikTok and Facebook, Meta, whatever. Just bring MySpace back.
What we need is more
man.
social media.
We just
to
need,
replace our social media.
I need to replace this, dude. I want to have top songs again, man, and top friends. I want my friends to know, and I'm pissed at them when I pull them out of my top 8. You know, you fucked up.
See, I feel like that's only going to create more problems if we bring back the hierarchy of friendship that was my top friends.
Maybe we created this then. Maybe it's not generations before us. Maybe we're the problem.
Oh, for social media? Our
Yeah.
generation was definitely the beginning of the problem. Like, without a doubt, 100% we were the beginning of that problem.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to wrap on currency. I hope you learned something. I hope you laughed a little. I hope you enjoyed Mike's presence. I really did. It was a great conversation.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so make sure to share, like, subscribe. Like we've mentioned before, we're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. With that, see you later.
Spotify?
Yeah, man, Spotify. We're on everything. We're going to start, for those who don't know, eventually we're going to live broadcast these, so... as soon as I can get Nate to show up to work, that lazy bastard. But yeah, thanks guys. We'll see you next time.